How are you getting on, folks? Look at, I'll put my hands up. I got it wrong for Clonmel. It's just been, look at it. It's just been one of those. Well, it's been a couple of times now. The last two runs for Clonmel, they've been highly disappointing for whatever reason. I don't know. It's just turned out to be a bit of a tricky old course to read races on recently. Um, Look, there's nothing really more I can say but apologize. I was just as much of a losing punter with all of the people who did follow me, but because it's the way it goes. You can't be winning every single day. If it was, I wouldn't be here. I'd be living out in a faraway island, drinking cold alcohol beverages and the whole shebang. But I'm stuck here in Ireland, so I'm gonna have to make do with it. Look at overall, it was a very much a massive disappointment for me in terms of picking races, trying to pick winners. Um, just going through the results. Obviously, look at God help us. Came home flying like a train. Just couldn't get going sooner rather than later. Obviously, look at the one I thought was nailed on in the second. It what you call it, pulled its way to the front, and it went clear, and all it had to do was jump the last and it was going to win, but like it just crumpled on landing. Um, then moving on for the rest of the day, marshaled. Look, hard to really know what to make of him. I'm starting to lose a little bit of faith in him. She Shun Sonny, like send her back over hurdles because she's nowhere near enough settled in herself to go jumping fences. She's a bit of a head case more so than anything else. But look at that's really the best of the horses that finished their second, third, and um a second and two thirds. But look at realistically, there's nothing really I could have done about them. Like I wasn't riding them myself, so because I'm not going to let it worry me too much. Moving on to tomorrow, double header on the card. Um, we're going to be covering a bit of both worlds here now. We're going to be doing a little bit of flat, just going through the card. I've two, four, six. I've six for Fairyhouse, and I have two, four, five for Cork on the flat. So we've 11 races altogether. I'm not expecting you all to go hell for leather on all 11, but there are some very very nice prices in there. There's no odds on shots in here tomorrow whatsoever, so that's going to be a very very good day. If we can get a couple of winners, if we could get three, four, maybe even five winners out of the 11, I'd be very very happy with that. Either way, that would mean that we are definitely going to be very much in profit tomorrow, and look at hopefully it's going to be a fairly decent day. But look at, we may as well crack on with things. I'm going to cover Fairyhouse tomorrow. The first race I will be covering, excluding the patron tips. First race off is the 145. Now this one here, it's I think it's a Hunter's Chase, is it? It seems to be a Hunter's Chase. Hunter's Chase. Jory Duty heads the market. Obviously, look at Jory Duty, a very very good horse in himself as well, and a very talented horse. But he's is he the best horse on the field? I don't think he is. I'm looking down through the field and looking down through the card, and my personal opinion, the best value horse of the day was definitely going to be Solomon Grundy for Sean Farmer Dial and Mr. Jamie Scanlon, I think. Jamie Scanlon. Currently priced in around 3-1. Now, this one here is definitely a very, very interesting a horse. He's been absolutely rejuvenated since going to Farmer Dial. He's put up some very very credible performances. He was third, I think. Was he third on stable debut or fifth? He was fifth on fifth on stable debut under rules. That was in Downryle. He was third at 50-1 behind Billoway and Staker Wallace. Not last time out, the time before that in Naas, and he ended up winning last time out in Goran Park, beating the likes of Winged Leader on the sod, Bellow Mome, Dilro, Wrong Direction, meeting most of the field what he's already previously meeting in here, and he's a horse that has run fairly credibly in this sort of standard as well. So realistically, I think 3-1, he's definitely going to be thereabouts in the finish. I think he's got the beating of Jury Duty. Stand up and fight didn't really put in a great performance last time out in Cheltenham. I thought he would have. So realistically, I'm going to be crossing him off. Um, Looking down through the field, what would I take him on with? I'd probably take him on with a horse by the name of It's All Guesswork for Denise Foster and Aubrey McMahon. Now, this one here has 2 wins on the bounce. I'm not 100% sure what that sort of standard was. It was point to point, so similar enough here. 5 lengths ahead of St. Benedict. So that's very interesting. Um, I'm not 100% sure who's in the next one there, but they were both in 2020. So look at, he's coming in from the back of a bit of a layoff. I think 12-1, still saying that he was 5 lengths ahead of St. Benedict. St. Benedict would have most of these in behind them in sort of standard like this, and I think 12-1, it's possibly worth a bit of an each way if you don't want to go in on the 3-1 for Solomon Grundy. Now 220, this one here is definitely going to be one of the feature races of the day. The Mayor's Chase is a very, very talented Mayor's Chase, although there is only 5 runners. You have the likes of Ellie May, Mount Ida, Abbey Magic, Zarkariva, and Demi Plie. All of those very, very capable mares, very talented in their own rights. It's very hard to look past the top 2. Obviously, look at 2 very, very talented horses. Obviously, Ellie May being the favourite at 4-7, Mount Ida 2-1. But this one here, I'm going to be siding with a bit of an outsider here. I'm going to be siding with Abbey Magic for Henry de Bromhead and Sean Flanagan, currently priced at 12-1. Now, realistically, it's definitely a toss up between the first 2 in the market. That's definitely there's no doubt about it. It's a no bet race, really. Obviously, when you're looking for winners, you're probably going to be siding with Mount Ida, simply because of the weight allowances and different things like that. I think Ellie May is definitely the most talented horse in the field. When you look at the way she bet or she chased home Allaho, and Allaho ended up leading the Ryanair field on a merry dance in Cheltenham, and Mount Ida, a quirky sort, but a very impressive winner in one of the handicap chases. I'm not 100% sure now off the top of my head which one it was in. Now look at Abbey Magic is a quirky enough sort of mare in herself. She doesn't really come on the track too much, but when she does, she's fairly solid. She's fairly talented. I'd actually go to the point in saying that the ground is going to be perfect for her tomorrow, when the likes of Ellie May would want soft or heavy ground. Mount Ida, just going through the form, I think this one will more than likely want softer ground. I think the drying ground is going to it's going to hinder her chances. And I personally think Abbey Magic at 12-1 is definitely a value bet. I wouldn't be going all in, but I'd certainly be having €1 or €2 on her anyway. That's definitely one thing for sure. When you look down through this mare's overall capability on good to firm ground, or any sort of ground that's good, she's almost unbeatable. Now you can make excuses for Ascot all you want. It was soft ground. She didn't like the ground. Every other time, Cork in good, she won. Kilbeggan and Yielden, she was just touched off second when she was, I think, 2 years off the track. 2 years off the track it was. Before that, then she won in Galway on soft, Navan on good to firm, Kilbeggan in good. All of those were very, very talented wins as well. Then she went on to, before that, she won in Wexford on good, Tremor on good, and that's all the wins she's had. But when you look down through the form, she's won on more good ground than soft ground. Now, the ground that we're having and the weather that we're having is drying by the second. Um, I think that's going to hinder Ellie Mae's chances. I think that's exactly why she didn't necessarily perform overall in Cheltenham. I think Mount Ida is a tricky enough sort to get right. I think she can throw the ties out of the pram a little bit, and she can just sort of make Jack Kennedy work a little bit for the win. I think the price is definitely very tempting for Mount Ida 2-1, but I just think there's something hidden underneath the top two. That's definitely an unknown, and I definitely think Abby Magic on good ground, she's going to be a very, very hard horse to stop. I'd imagine Ellie Mae and Abby Magic are going to make the running. I think Mount Ida is going to be held up in the back, try to, um, I suppose, shut her off more so than anything else, and just stop her getting lit up so early on in the race. Zakariva, hard to really know. I can't see Zakariva managing to make much of the pace. Probably going to be held up along with Mount Ida covering her up. And Demi Pliel looks like she is going to struggle a little bit to um, keep up with these in terms of front running. I think she's going to probably sit off in third. Uh, we'll say Zakariva and Mount Ida the back two. Abby Magic and Ellie Mae are going to take each other on. There's no doubt about it. And hopefully Abby Magic will jump fairly well, and the ground is definitely going to be in her favour. I think she's going to be a bit of a value horse now for tomorrow. Now, moving on then to the 255, and this one here, the Ladies National. My co-hosts with the Irish Racing Hour were talking to Henry de Bromhead earlier on the week, and they were discussing Kavanagh's Corner's chance for Henry and Emma Toomey claiming £7. Now, Henry seemed fairly confident, as confident as he could possibly be in terms of national hunt race, and he said that the horse was going fairly well at home, and that Emma Toomey gets on fairly well with the horse. So make of it what you want. The horse is 6-1. I think it's definitely well worth considering. Obviously, looking on overall form, this horse is going to be coming in here with a very, very talented chance. Coming from the yard, it's very hard to not like Henry de Bromhead and the way he runs things. And I definitely think if Kavanagh's Corner can get, I suppose, going and get running to a fairly decent standard, he's definitely got a very, very talented chance. 330 then. Who do I have in this one? This one here is going to be the next best each way of the day. This one here is definitely going to be going with Dunboyne at 12-1. Why this horse is 12-1, I do not know. When you just look down through the form, this horse has an absolute outstanding chance. Obviously, look at when you're going back down through. We won't talk about the point-to-point win because I don't really know much about it. Rule's debut, obviously, look at it, was second to Bob Ollinger by 14 lengths. That was in Navan. I think it was a maiden hurdle that particular day. So they obviously they avoided the bumper route, which is strange for Gordon Elliott anyway. It's like normally when Gordon's horses, like it was Gordon's at the time, it's Denise Foster's now, but when Gordon's horses come straight from the point-to-point fields, they normally go into the bumper route just to, I suppose, settle themselves more so than anything else. This lad didn't do it. He went straight for the maiden hurdles. Second to Bob Ollinger, who went on to win the Ballymore. Second then to Capodanno, who we spoke with. Steph Searle thought Capodanno was definitely a horse to be looking into coming into the season. That form hasn't really worked out. I think Capodanno he's a funny sort of a horse. He looks like he's an absolute tank, but like when the going gets tough with him, he throws the ties out of the pram. And then obviously the last time out, look at it beat most of this field. Obviously, look at Dunboyne, Mercury Lane, Meticulous, Mount Mellery. Mount Mellery actually ran a fairly decent race last time out. Last two times out, actually. Second on both occasions. One of them was behind full-time score. And the last time then was in Clonmel there the other day. Um, who else was in that? Nobody really. Salt Wind, but Salt Wind was well beaten that day. Well beaten. There was no, I suppose, getting close to him there that day. Obviously look at Capodanno and Dunboyne meet again. I don't think there's going to be too much between them. I think Dunboyne is definitely going to be more. This is going to be more his trip. The 3 miles, he looks like he's an out and out stayer. I think he's definitely going to be very, very hard to beat tomorrow. The price he is, I definitely would be suggesting each way. He's coming in here off a fairly low weight, 11 stone 3. I think with the form that he's put up, I think he's definitely worth a bit more. Obviously, look at when you're. It's a very, very tough field. I'm not going to say it's. I'm not going to say it's a certainty because it's certainly not. It's a very, very tough field. You have the likes of Fighter Allen, you have the likes of Capodanno, who has beaten Dunboyne already, Ragnar Lodbrok, who has put up some very, very decent performances, but it's just like it's gone a bit short for me now. It opened up at 16s, it's backed into 9s now. So look, I'd be avoiding it now at that price. I think he's definitely valued there at 16, but like at 9 now, I don't think I'd be going. Meticulous, I don't really know what to make of Meticulous. I don't really like him, to be quite honest. I just think Dunboyne at 12 to 1 is a very, very good each way bet if you're going to be having one tomorrow. 405. And who do I like in this one? This one here is going to be another. Um, who do I like? There's one down at the very, very bottom of the market, and it's a fairly big price. It's another each way shout of the day for Denise Foster, for Joseph Kelly, claiming £7 off. But the weight this lad has is absolutely ridiculous. 10 stone 3 with £7 being claimed off that. Like, that's as good as a flat mark, really, when you're thinking about it. Gold de Bois for Robcore. He's put up some fairly decent performances of late in handicap company. Now, I know he is stepping up in grade here today. I know he's meeting a more competitive field, but like when you look down through the form of the last two, especially, 5th of 20 behind Master McShee, who put it up to Appreciated, who won the Supreme at a canter. Sea Ducker, a very, very talented horse for Arthur Moore. The My Glass Flyer, very, very talented horse for Joseph O'Brien. Gold Speed, another talented enough sort for Adrian Murray. He beat Tiger Tap Tap. Snugsborough Hall, very, very talented horse for Liam Cusack there. Daybreak Boy, Pike County, for the Doe, Highbury. I think Highbury he's meeting Highbury here today. If I'm not mistaken. He is meeting him today. Highbury is 14 to 1, and our lad is 20 to 1 after he beaten him the last day by a neck, 3.5 lengths, a short head, half a length. Okay, so you're talking in or around, I think in around 8 lengths, he's beaten him by. Now, the mark that this Gold de Bois is on, it's ridiculous in my personal opinion. He was then third to, by the same token, and Feel Good Island, both of those very, very talented horses for the likes of Ross O'Sullivan and Elizabeth Doyle. He's beaten Flint for Kieran Murphy, who is the winner of Dot Love's last race in charge of her yard before giving the license to Kieran Murphy. Take All, very, very talented hurdler there for Seamus Fahy. Take All looked like it was actually going to win it that particular day. Highbury pulled up, is meeting Highbury again, and is beating it on both occasions. Why this horse is 20 to 1, I do not know. I think it's definitely well worth in each way. At that sort of a price, it's absolutely madness. I think the weight he's on, I suppose the overall chance he has, and everything else like that, you have to seriously consider him. 440 then the last race for Fairyhouse now, and this one here is going to be my nap of the day. I'm going to be avoiding Party Central. I'm going to be avoiding Limerick Lace. I am all about this John Kiley horse here. Shul Valentine, currently priced in or around 5-2, and this one here looked like an absolute weapon the last day. You just go back to the day in Naas, just watch that day again. Watch the way the horse just cantered up to the field, just pulled away from the field, um, and just won basically walking back doing backward handstands. This horse looks to be a right weapon. I think 5-2 is an absolutely outrageous price. It's absolutely well bred. You have the likes of Ishka Sulis, a very talented horse for the Queelies. It's closely related to that. It's well related as well to the likes of 2 mile hurdle winners, everything else like that. I think once this horse sees a hurdle in the future, is going to be a total weapon. Uh, it's definitely looks to be a very talented sort, and I think it's going to be a very hard horse to beat. I think 5-2 is absolutely outrageous of a price, and I think it should be definitely available. Now moving on to the flat meet now in Cork tomorrow. We, like I said, we have 5 horses here now for today. First race off that I'll be covering is the 125, and this one here I will be covering Chimeric for Johnny Levins and Donna O'Connor. Now this one here, it's more of a chance more so than anything else. I'm not going to say that it's I'm 100% confident in these picks for Cork tomorrow. I'm not. There are a couple of ones that I do particularly fancy and particularly like, but this one here it's taking a chance more so than anything else. Realistically, what I'm looking at here is the draw is definitely favouring this sort of a horse here. It's drawn out in 18. It should be it should be no hindrance here. I'd be more inclined to be backing a horse out of that sort of a gate, rather than say one or two in case it misses the break and then the race is gone from you. Chimeric here is falling down to a very low mark. I think if the horse can put up a fairly decent performance and a performance that the mark suggests, which is close enough to the last winning mark, it should be definitely thereabouts in the finish. I think it's going to be a if it gets going, when in the right time and it gets, I suppose, into the swing of things, with a good chance, it's definitely going to be a horse that's going to be thereabouts in the finish. And I think 10-1 is it's worth a bit of an each way. Look at it probably won't finish anywhere knowing my form, but look at sure we'll give it a chance anyway. 2 o'clock. This one here, it's a funny one again. Again, look at it's these handicaps, like they're so open and they're so outrageously open as well. I'm going to take a chance on Katie Brown's horse, Vento del Drago. Currently priced in around 14-1. Now, realistically, look at when you're like this here is really going to be one of, like, it's more of a sentimental sort of a pick more so than anything else, because he's by Dragon Pulse. We're going to Dragon Pulse with our mare, our family mare, now in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully, please God, everything goes well. But like when you look down through the form, 7th of 13 at 200-1, 4th of 14 at 15-1, and 5th of 14 at 66-1. It's got its opening mark. It's at a mark of, I think, 52. Ridden by Mark Gallagher. Mark knows Katie's horses very well. He's won plenty of races with Katie Brown's horses. Obviously, look at, you have the likes of, I think it was a Laurie Yates in the Curragh. Mark rode in late, I think, July last year. That was a very impressive performance. Stayed on very well that day. I think the mark it's a little bit of an insult really to a horse that's potentially well thrown in here. I'm sure Katie Brown won't mind, but look at if it comes in here with any sort of a chance at all, you'd have to seriously consider Vento del Drago, especially look at when Dragon Pulse's offspring have been absolutely firing in all cylinders recently. It's only about time before Vento del Drago gets its head in front. Now I know I said the last race I said I didn't like to get stuck with a low draw. We're right in the box seat here in one, but look at it, one man's loss is another man's game, and look at hopefully if the first one loses, we'll win on this one, especially at a better price of 14 to 1. 235. Now this one here is going to be the next best of the day. Lustown Baba at 3 to 1. This one here looks to be the one for Willie McCreary to get his head in front. Now, realistically, what I'm looking at here is the jockey bookings. Billy Lee is generally Willie McCreary's first choice jockey. He has 3 horses in here. Billy chooses this one, course and distance winner. Won his last 2 outings, was second the times before that since. Generally goes well first time out. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing this lad. I think he's going to be a very, very talented sort. I think make a challenge, possibly. I suppose the ground is getting away from make a challenge now. Make a challenge would prefer maybe soft to heavy groundish. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on him. Maybe he'd want it on the touchy yielding side, but I don't think he's going to get that tomorrow. I think the ground is going to be good to yield and good, definitely in places. And I think Lustown Baba is going to absolutely love every single inch of the ground tomorrow, and he should be very, very hard to beat. Now, the 420 is the next race I will be covering because Ryan has taken the 310. I'm actually, yeah, the 420 is the one I'm going to be covering. Princess Zoe, the nap of the day. We went straight from the next best to the nap. This one here is it's not just the class act of the race, but it's the class act of the whole meeting. When you're looking at say what Princess Zoe has done, I know probably the ground has gone against her now, and I think she will definitely need to improve on what she's already done to beat this sort of a field and the ground she doesn't like. But yeah, I think 6 to 4 for Princess Zoe any day of the week is definitely well worth getting on board. I think if she can turn her foot to good ground racing, and if she can get going, the way she has been over last season, like realistically, she is going to be the one they all have to beat, and she is definitely the class act of the meeting. Um, Moving on into the last race of the day, the 455. And this one here, I will be going with Ebony Maw for Ger Lyons and Colin Keane. This one here currently priced at 11 to 2. Now, this one here, I was sort of tied between starting Monday. I was tied between Ebony Maw. Realistically, starting Monday wants soft grounds, wants heavy ground, different things like that. It's a tricky enough old horse to get right. And it seems to be a fairly quirky sort as well. When you look at the day in the Curragh, when it won, Billy Lee had to run the length of the track before he could get to the start at all, because the horse was just completely unrideable. But realistically, the horse won very well and everything else like that. But I just think the ground is going to be gone against him now tomorrow. I think Colin Keane is definitely on a fairly nice one here now tomorrow. I think he's got a great chance overall. The draw in stall 4 is definitely well worth considering. I think overall Ger Lyons is going to have a fairly decent day. It's interesting. It's only this lad's second start in the handicap. I think overall, if he can improve any sort, which he's entitled to do, he's still only a young horse. He's still only a 4-year-old. He's definitely well worth considering when you think about the horses that Ger Lyons has, especially for these connections as well. You would be hopeful that this horse is going to be something special, but look, we won't know till tomorrow anyway. But look, I'm going to leave it there for those who want to sign up to Patreon. Would know that we have a very, very nice bet on for tomorrow. A few lovely prices all together. But look, at for €10 a month, we landed a 2 to 1 winner there today. The day before, Dean and Ryan landed 6-4 and 11-8 winner. The day before that, I landed 2-2-1 winners. Dean landed a 4-1 winner. So realistically, we're a group in form. We're bashing out the winners left, right, and center. I'm confident on a couple of big prize winners now tomorrow for the patron. Dean obviously knows the flat game inside out and upside down, as well as Ryan. For the sake of €10 a month, you can't really go wrong. But as well as that, not only do you get the daily tips for that €10, but you also get entered into a monthly draw every month for members for different prizes, different things like that. This month now it's a cash giveaway, but a few times before that we've had the likes of, say, Hacked Up Racing gifts. We gave away a year's share in a horse, good till the January 2022. What else did we give away now, just off the top of my head? We had we had the 200 €200 pot for the Cheltenham Festival competition, and nearly forgot about that, even though it was me that was doing the calculating and the everything else like that. So yeah, when you think about it that way, we do give back what gets put into us. It's there to fund the Irish Racing Hour podcast. It's a weekly podcast that we do, to help, I suppose, the small man in the industry, in the Irish racing industry, to get a bit of airtime, get a bit of, I suppose, media coverage more so than anything else, because realistically they're the ones that keep the clock ticking and keeping the show on the road, and they don't get enough coverage for what they deserve anyway. But I'll leave a link in the description below for that. If you're going to be having a bet tomorrow, the very, very best of luck. But hopefully it's going to be better than what Clonmel was. But because we can't get any worse anyway. That's one thing for sure. Look, at best of luck tomorrow if you're going to be having a bet. Hopefully, look, we have plenty of winners still to come.